All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everything in between, the time has come for my big supercharger kit. This is the Hyde Motorworks M122H supercharger kit, and it should also have my manifold in it, which is going to be the full aluminum short runner manifold, so that we can fit the supercharger on there. And so we're going to actually get rid of the stock manifold. Hey, that worked out. Look at that nice little card right there. Take a look. Hyde Motorworks. Get hold of them. Have a supercharged day. This is actually going to be in conjunction with Keith at KC Designs, who is the progenitor of this kit. He's the one that's put in R&D on all this. So we thank Keith for all of his time and effort, and hopefully saves us a little bit of time on the way. But you can get your kit from Hyde Motorworks. Don't forget to use my code, guys. That still should be active as far as I know. I'll make sure if there's an updated code we get it posted, but it still should be Ori22. Get yourself some little bit of discount on your kit and a little bit of kickback for the channel. So without further ado, we're gonna crack this bad boy open. See if we can't be all professional with it. All right, so go ahead and stack that there, huh? You stay there? I'll grab some tape maybe. Alright, so right off the bat, looks like we've got a couple of pulleys. I'd imagine it's probably a idler pulley of some kind. So yeah, so we're gonna have our first pulley. Alright, we'll get all this out on the table afterwards and do a proper pulley too. So I'd imagine probably all the same. Yep, so idler pulleys on those. 3 of those. Got our idler pulleys. Looks like we've got our belt here. So we're going to have to take our current belt off. Obviously this one's going to route slightly differently and going to be a little bit longer, but it looks like this one's going to be running a 20 millimeter. They're usually a 6-band. Yep, it's a 6-band, same as my M62 kit. And this one runs at 2085, which actually, if I remember correctly, is pretty close to the stage 2 M62 kit belt that I already have. So score there. I already have a spare belt. I think that one's like a 2080 realistically, but I mean a few 5 millimeter change isn't going to matter too much. So then it looks like we've got a couple of some nice gaskets. So that's nice for all my different manifolds. So that's probably going to be manifold out the interchange, or probably this is going to be a intake manifold. I'd imagine this is the other one of the other manifolds. I know this one is definitely off the plenum of the supercharger. I recognize the shape. This definitely looks like the intake off, or will probably be the front of the intake. And we'll have to see what this one is. This one, not sure on this one. I guess the other side, probably the outbound or the inbound of the supercharger possibly. And then this is going to be, I believe, will probably be the gasket for the supercharger to sit on once it sits on its plates. So we have, ooh, very lightweight. Very lightweight. I like it. Still, I mean, still solid, good construction, good welds. But I like it. It's not bulky. You know what I mean? Shave those pounds where you can. That's very nice. I like that. It's good and solid. Like it feels great. Like it feels quality, but it's also like lightweight. You're like, ooh, that's good aluminum. You know what I mean? Like I like that. There's that one. And then what I would assume is going to be vertical back brackets. If it's anything like the M62 kit. Get these guys out of there real quick. There we go. So you've got the Mark 1 KC Rev 2 supercharged brackets. These are likely going to be for the back end of the car. I keep forgetting the video is going to post this way. So I know it's gonna be from the side, guys, but it's what I had to work with. It's what we had for space. Okay, deal with it to be able to get this whole box in the frame and everything. So all right. Next little goodie bag, flip that over, more stuffing. Looks like they provided us with some more bracketry. I'll have to see what this is for, obviously. Probably for one of the pulley standoffs or something along those lines. Not sure yet, obviously, as I haven't done this kit. But these are just my guesses. We'll see how good I was in the end. We'll see how correct I was just by knowing these kits. Obviously, spacers. This is going to be for setting off of the alternator, the front of the engine. There's going to be a big plate in here that's going to mount all this, just like the M62 had a plate to begin with. So this is going to have several spacers in it. You know, I'm sure they'll have tags for sizers. Looks like some of them are just slightly smaller than others, so there's probably like a 60 and a 62 millimeter or something along those lines. So you'll need those spacers. That's going to be to set the main bracket off. This feels like the intake, so we're going to hold off on that one. Let's see what else we got down here. Oh, here we go. So these are going to be all of our mounting brackets and bolts and everything. So it's clearly labeled on which one you're going to need. I'm sure the instructions will tell me which bolt goes where, but I pretty much know that's probably a top and bottom alternator bolt, I'm guessing. Again, we'll see how correct I am at the end. A lot of other bolts that you're going to need for the kit, separated up, obviously counted out and separated for you. Got a couple more tucked away in here. Again, more bolts. Sure, you know, we'll find out what they're for later. Strapping everything down. Some of those are going to be to mount the supercharger down to the bracket. Okay. What do we got? Not sure what this is. Probably a... Oh. See, now I wondered if... I wasn't 100% sure what was all going to come in the kit. I know it's all pictured on the website, but I, you know, for the life of me, I didn't pay attention, truthfully. This is going to be our side mount. So there's that washer that we seen earlier. This is going to come off the plenum. I'm going to go ahead and, you know, I'll let you guys ASMR with me. I'll shut up for a second. Alright, now that we're done with the struggle bus, so I think I'm probably going to have to post a video in this orientation, truthfully. That's probably just saved my whole time, so anytime you guys see me flip it, that's, you know, I don't know what I'm doing yet, you know, I'm just a car guy. This whole video thing, yeah. So, another really nice piece, so completely, you know, rolled and molded. You can see the lines and the markers and everything, you know, solid welds, solid powder coating. Feels good, you know what I mean? But it still doesn't feel, it feels sturdy, it feels good, but it doesn't feel like chonky, so to speak. So I feel like it's some really nice high-grade aluminum. You can see it's all tapped and drilled here and here for things that we're going to have to mount. But man, is that going to look nice coming off the side of a giant supercharger. It's going to take us down and around and to the front of, that's going to take us off the supercharger towards the front of the car and allow us to get down to our intercooler and whatnot. Okay, so dig a little deeper. This is going to be, I already know, this is going to be the plate that goes over the alternator. Get our knife ski out here. And yeah, I know my knife probably needs to be sharpened. It's definitely been a couple weeks. But it's a daily. She gets used to take screws out and cut a piece of steak. You know, not a sponsored video by Gerber, but honestly, it's been a great little pocket knife. I work construction, and I do a lot of drywall cutting and, you know, box cardboard cutting and turning, you know, screws, using my knife for a screwdriver. Fits in your pocket, little skeletonized, nice little knife. All right, so this is going to be the over the alternator bracket. I'm assuming the alternator wheel is going to be here. This is going to bracket up to your engine. There's going to be standoffs and everything. I like it. Now this has got some heft to it. This has got some chunk. But this is where you want it to have chunk. This is what mounts the whole supercharger and the bracketry and everything. Basically, like, this is the heart and soul of keeping that thing in place and not having it twist. So you can see these are all tapped out. These are open. These are open, so these two are tapped out. I'm guessing pulleys. I'm betting you a pulley goes here and a pulley goes here. Just saying, just taking a guess. Haven't really gone down, but there you go again. You got the Hyde Motor Works M1 KC. That's KC Designs right there. That's Keith. Gotta love him. And the Rev 2 supercharged. Beautiful. Powder coat. Hefty. That's nice. Alright. What else we got down here? So this, oh, looks like we did have one more pack of some bolts down in there. This should be the supercharger's manifold plate. This plate is going to sit, I would say flat, but it's not. It's actually at a slight angle. You'll see once we get the install going. But essentially, this is going to be what sits on the bottom of the supercharger that the supercharger rests on and creates compression, essentially. This plate is going to lead to a manifold, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it the supercharger's manifold rather than the car's manifold. We'll see the car's manifold here in a second. That's going to be the last thing that I open, which the car manifold is included only if you add it into the kit. You got to be aware the kit comes in different variations. You can get it just as a bare bones kit, and you can also get it with the if you want to build or modify your current stock intake. I have seen people just cut them down and make them shorter. It's not wonderful. It's not beautiful. I have also seen people just make custom intakes to replace their current M52, especially because the M52 motor has such thin plenums. You should at least be running an M50 manifold, but truthfully, the M50 manifold and the M52 manifold will not fit this supercharger kit. That's why you need to get the other manifold that I'm going to show you after this, or you have to create/modify your own. And I would not want to run a modified plastic intake with this much boost. That is what this is capable of building. So you really don't want to modify your plastic one. So you really need to build a custom one. And let me see if I can find my knife again. This last bit. And you know, that's aluminum. I mean, you can make it out of steel, I suppose, but that would be heavy. But you know, you're probably going to need to do some aluminum welding if you're going to make your own, or have some pretty decent fabrication skills. So here we go. This is again what I'm going to call the supercharger manifold. It is going to actually be sitting upside down in the car, and I'm going to say in this direction along with the engine. So if we're gonna film it from this direction, you can't see it, but whole engine would be here, front of car is back towards me, and then that would be towards the rear of the car. If I face it this way, we can see a little better. So rear of car should probably be that way, and the reason why I know that is because there are some threaded pieces here. You know what? I guess they're all threaded, and now that I think about it, I believe that that's going to be for the blow-off, and that's at the back of the supercharger. So this actually is probably likely how it goes, with the front of the engine here and the back of the car there. But again, we'll see how close I am on my predictions. You can see again, all completely welded, powder coated. It says the nice Hyde Motor Works on it. So Hyde Motor Works. 2.5 inch plenum that's going to come off. Again, the supercharger is going to sit on this. This is actually going to be pointed downwards. Okay. Now, the final piece. This is technically extra. You can order it in your kit, but this is going to be the manifold replacement for your car, not the supercharger. What we just looked at was the supercharger manifold. Now we're going to look at the replacement for the car's manifold. And this is going to do a couple things. So not only does it have shorter plenums so that you can move your entire intake over and you can fit the supercharger in now, but it's also going to move the intake port from the side of the intake to the front corner. And I'll show you what I mean as soon as we get this out of the box here. In fact, we can go ahead, that's the end of the box. All nicely packaged. Thank you, Keith, again. Thank you, Hyde. You know, thank the sponsors for this video as well, guys. You know, stop by Hyde Motorworks if you're interested in supercharging like any BMW, not just the E36. They do kits for all kinds of BMWs. They also do them for Subarus. I know there's a guy working on a kit for his WRX that I've been talking to, that he's in the UK. Hyde Motorworks is based out of Germany, and so far they've been a great sponsor. They've taken care of me on both this kit. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there is a discount code of ORI22. It might get updated to ORI23. I haven't been informed of that yet, but for now it's ORI22. Check in with me if you can't get it to work. I'll see what I can do about getting you a new code. But there is a discount code for anything you want to buy on HydeMotorworks.com. Use ORI22 at checkout and you'll get my discount. Not only will you get a nice discount, but some of that will come back to help out the channel for future builds like this. Hyde has obviously done a great job of taking care of me so far. And there we go. Comes out its shell. Okay, so some big things here that we're going to notice. Start getting this so we get everything in the picture here. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, it's so nice. I'm so excited, guys and girls and everything in between. Be what you want to be. Love who you want to love. It's not up to me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. So I don't care. I mind my business. And I think a lot of people nowadays may have kind of forgot how to do that. But anyways, beautiful. Let's see if we can get everything in the shot here. Most of the main stuff. We don't need the pulleys and stuff. They're ugly anyways. Yeah. Whatever. They're there. Okay, we got it. We got most of it anyways. But, so, new Hyde Motorworks manifold. Obviously, it's going to sit on the side of the engine with these manifold blocks and your O-rings. So you're going to get a nice mated surface there to your intake. All of your injectors, like normal. They should fit in there, you know, no problem. Injectors just go in there with their O-rings. Right? So then we've got two tabs. This is going to be mounting of your fuel rail. I believe, I haven't decided on this yet, but I believe I'm going to go with the Radium Venom fuel line. For first initial build purposes, we might just use the stock rail just to get the build, you know, finished a little faster, but I do intend on doing a really nice custom Venom, or not really custom, but an aftermarket Radium fuel rail. It's called the Venom fuel rail, and that's going to allow me to do a fuel pressure regulator both in and out. And when I go to E85, is going to, you know, be a lot nicer to deal with than the stock fuel rail. But for now, we'll probably just mount up the stock fuel rail, figure out all of our E85, and then we'll change to the other fuel rail eventually and do all AN lines and all that stuff. But, so, it's going to mount up, obviously, Hyde Motorworks, SR1 manifold, the Rev 6, KC Designs, Big Dog Keith. Check out his channel too. So, underneath. Now here's what's nice. A couple things about this nice about this. So, we now have 4 tappable ports. So, boost references, brake booster if you have one. I am going to delete mine as well. Through Chase Bay has a boosterless brake system with a bias on it. And then these two could be like your reference for your blow-off valve and your reference for intake on your manifold from your, if you're using from a catch can. So I do have, or actually we'll go, this will be our standard, what would have gone to our PCV valve. We will now go from it to our catch can and probably back. And just have a nice solid respiration route for somewhere for the all the injectables to go and give us negative displacement on the crankcase. So we will pull vacuum from here, wrap it to the catch can, and then come back to the engine for it to burn off all the, suck off the combustibles. And we'll do that with a check valve too. So when the engine is running, it will allow pressure to go out this side, but not this side. And then, while we're in running normal conditions, and it will only allow when vacuum hits that it will be sucking from this side back into the intake. We'll use a check valve on both sides. I'll use a positive check valve and a negative check valve on the other side. So we have both directions plugged up. And then probably a brake booster reference and an actual boost line reference is what I will use, I think. We'll figure out what we're going to do with those 4 lines yet. And then, as I talked about earlier, normally on your manifold, it would be here. On your stock manifold, your cutout is here for you to go, oh, one of these will be idle air control as well. Yeah, one of these will nipple off for idle air control. I just thought about, that's the last thing we're going to need in this system is idle air. So we are going to run from here at the front corner of the intake is where we're going to be able to go instead of the side. So it makes it a lot easier for routing and more room for the supercharger to sit alongside the side of the bracket. But other than that, that's pretty straightforward. Everything appears to be there. There's a natural cutout. Again, I said here, so this is where all my charged air is going to come out of my charged pipe. This is my intake pipe over here. Air will come through that nice and cold. I will probably tap this. Yep, I believe I'm probably going to tap this for an air intake temperature. And because that's my, I now use the standalone, uses an air intake pressure map sensor. And so I'll need to get a reference somewhere for intake temperatures. No, you know what? That's going to be cold intake. I actually need to get a sensor on my charged downstream. So I'll have to figure out where I'm going to relocate my intake temperature sensor. That's fine. I will need to figure out the idle air control rerouting because normally it would be on the back side. Normally your idle air control would be here. Now it has to be moved. So I'll figure out those lines. We'll have to do a little bit of talking and reading. Instructions should be online. This is going to be my dummy manifold for the front. So that's going to dummy off of there. Oop. And that's going to get me off in that direction. Underneath mounts. Yeah. That's going to be most of it. Still a little bit to go. I'm still tracking down and sourcing a new supercharger, the actual M122H. I have a couple lines on them. I just need to actually snap on it and get it done. But the kit should be coming along pretty soon, guys. We're going to get this video up and then start the next one within the next week or so. We're going to disassemble the current M62 kit. By the way, if anybody's interested in my stock M62 kit and piping, not my intercooler, you can't have my intercooler, but actually, so excuse me, not even my piping, because I'm going to use my piping again. If anybody is interested in getting my Hyde Motorworks kit and supercharger so that you can at least mount it, you'll have to take care of everything else yourself, but I'll give you all the dummies and the brackets that would have come in my original kit. Hit me up if you're interested. Maybe we'll do some kind of raffle. Maybe I'll just, sell it at a pretty good rate from what you could get off of brand new, because obviously has been used, but my M62 kit has not really seen that much time, truthfully. Maybe a couple thousand miles, maybe. So let me know if you're interested. Send me a DM, hit me up in the comments. I'll see what kind of interest there is on my old M62 kit. But soon, guys. soon we'll be strapping the M122H from Eaton. It's the same supercharger that goes in the Shelby GT500s. We should easily break 300 horsepower. No problem on our 2.5 liter. We are going to include this for the next time around. I wanted to put that in the build too. In the next build, we got our ARP head studs. And I also have some of the other gaskets and stuff that came in for valve cover gaskets and new grommets and stuff there, since we're going to pop the top off the valve. I do believe I can change the head studs without changing the timing or actually taking the cams out. I know that it's a little difficult to get some of these washers and nuts down in between the journals to actually get them on the top of each head stud. You can see they're hexed. They go in, drill, you push them down, and then you put the nuts on them. It pulls everything back up. They're anti-stretch. These will hold my head on. I know my head gasket's good to at least 9 psi. People were telling me 9 psi, no problem. People do 9 psi without changing their bolts. I know Keith did like 13 psi without changing his bolts or head gasket, and did like, I don't know, 15,000 miles or something before he finally took the engine down. So we're going to at least change our head studs. I am going to eventually look at doing an MLS head cut ring head gasket, because the timing, it's at 151,000. I haven't had a good chance to look at the timing, but I would like to do the timing and the water pump eventually, and the head gasket all at one time eventually. But we just want to get through the kit, get it tuned. You know, we have the VIMS standalone system now, so it should be interesting. This will be one of the first kits that I know of that includes, you know, that is not going to be on a stock DME. It's actually going to be on a standalone engine management system. So I know Keith was originally having some issues with the engine breaking up on the high end on the stock DME flashes. But with a full VIM standalone, I shouldn't have any problems tuning this thing just all the way out to the max. So thank you guys. You know, hit that subscribe. You know, I love you guys. Please watch, you know, as much of the videos as you can or that you need. Hit me up in the comments if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. Many people have already had me help them with the M62 kit. Hopefully the build video will help you guys when you get your kit to help you install, and you can watch me fumble through and mess everything up the first time and the second time, so that way when I do it right on the third time, you guys can do it right on the first time. Thanks for staying, guys.